اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. اللهم إني أسألك وأتوجه إليك بنبيك نبي الرحمة محمد صلى الله عليه وآله يا أبا القاسم يا رسول الله يا إمام الرحمة يا سيدنا ومولانا إنا توجهنا واستشفعنا وتوسلنا بك إلى الله وقدمناك بين يدي حاجاتنا يا وجيها عند الله اشفع لنا عند الله يا وجيها عند الله اشفع لنا عند الله يا أبا الحسن يا أمير المؤمنين يا علي بن أبي طالب يا حجة الله على خلقه يا سيدنا ومولانا إنا توجهنا واستشفعنا وتوسلنا بك إلى الله وقدمناك بين يدي حاجاتنا يا وجيها عند الله اشفع لنا عند الله يا وجيها عند الله اشفع لنا عند الله يا فاطمة الزهراء يا بنت محمد يا قرة عين الرسول يا سيدتنا ومولاتنا إنا توجهنا واستشفعنا وتوسلنا بك إلى الله وقدمناك بين يدي حاجاتنا يا وجيهة عند الله اشفعي لنا عند الله يا وجيهة عند الله اشفعي لنا عند الله يا أبا محمد يا حسن بن علي أيها المجتبى يا ابن رسول الله يا حجة الله على خلقه يا سيدنا ومولانا إنا توجهنا واستشفعنا وتوسلنا بك إلى الله وقدمناك بين يدي حاجاتنا يا وجيها عند الله اشفع لنا عند الله يا وجيها عند الله اشفع لنا عند الله يا أبا عبد الله يا حسين بن علي أيها الشهيد يا ابن رسول الله يا حجة الله على خلقه يا سيدنا ومولانا إنا توجهنا واستشفعنا وتوسلنا بك إلى الله وقدمناك بين يدي حاجاتنا يا وجيها عند الله اشفع لنا عند الله يا وجيها عند الله اشفع لنا عند الله يا أبا الحسن يا علي بن الحسين يا زين العابدين يا ابن رسول الله يا حجة الله على خلقه يا سيدنا ومولانا إنا توجهنا واستشفعنا وتوسلنا بك إلى الله وقدمناك بين يدي حاجاتنا يا وجيها عند الله اشفع لنا عند الله يا وجيها عند الله اشفع لنا عند الله يا أبا جعفر يا محمد بن علي أيها الباقر يا ابن رسول الله يا حجة الله على خلقه يا سيدنا ومولانا إنا توجهنا واستشفعنا وتوسلنا بك إلى الله وقدمناك بين يدي حاجاتنا يا وجيها عند الله اشفع لنا عند الله يا وجيها عند الله اشفع لنا عند الله يا أبا عبد الله يا جعفر بن محمد أيها الصادق يا ابن رسول الله يا حجة الله على خلقه يا سيدنا ومولانا إنا توجهنا واستشفعنا وتوسلنا بك إلى الله وقدمناك بين يدي حاجاتنا يا وجيها عند الله اشفع لنا عند الله يا وجيها عند الله اشفع لنا عند الله يا أبا الحسن يا موسى بن جعفر أيها الكاظم يا ابن رسول الله يا حجة الله على خلقه يا سيدنا ومولانا إنا توجهنا واستشفعنا وتوسلنا بك إلى الله وقدمناك بين يدي حاجاتنا يا وجيها عند الله اشفع لنا عند الله يا وجيها عند الله اشفع لنا عند الله يا أبا الحسن يا علي بن موسى أيها الرضا يا ابن رسول الله يا حجة الله على خلقه يا سيدنا ومولانا إنا توجهنا واستشفعنا وتوسلنا بك إلى الله وقدمناك بين يدي حاجاتنا يا وجيها عند الله اشفع لنا عند الله يا وجيها عند الله اشفع لنا عند الله يا أبا جعفر يا محمد بن علي أيها التقي الجواد يا ابن رسول الله يا حجة الله على خلقه يا سيدنا ومولانا إنا توجهنا واستشفعنا وتوسلنا بك إلى الله وقدمناك بين يدي حاجاتنا يا وجيها عند الله اشفع لنا عند الله يا وجيها عند الله اشفع لنا عند الله يا أبا الحسن يا علي بن محمد أيها الهادي النقي يا ابن رسول الله يا حجة الله على خلقه يا سيدنا ومولانا إنا توجهنا واستشفعنا وتوسلنا بك إلى الله وقدمناك بين يدي حاجاتنا يا وجيها عند الله اشفع لنا عند الله يا وجيها عند الله اشفع لنا عند الله يا أبا محمد يا حسن بن علي أيها الذكي العسكري يا ابن رسول الله يا حجة الله على خلقه يا سيدنا ومولانا إنا توجهنا واستشفعنا وتوسلنا بك إلى الله وقدمناك بين يدي حاجاتنا يا وجيها عند الله اشفع لنا عند الله يا وجيها عند الله اشفع لنا عند الله يا وسيء الحسن والخلف الحجة أيها القائم المنتظر المهدي يا ابن رسول الله يا حجة الله على خلقه يا سيدنا ومولانا إنا توجهنا واستشفعنا وتوسلنا بك إلى الله وقدمناك بين يدي حاجاتنا يا وجيها عند الله اشفع لنا عند الله يا وجيها عند الله اشفع لنا عند الله يا وجيها عند الله اشفع لنا عند الله حاجاتنا. يا سادتي وموالي إني توجهت بكم أئمتي وعدتي ليوم فقري وحاجتي إلى الله، وتوسلت بكم إلى الله واستشفعت بكم إلى الله، فاشفعوا لي عند الله واستنقذوني من ذنوبي عند الله، فإنكم وسيلتي إلى الله، وبحبكم وبقربكم أرجو نجاة من الله، فكونوا عند الله رجائي يا سادتي يا أولياء الله، صلى الله عليهم أجمعين، ولعن الله أعداء الله ظالمهم من الأولين والآخرين، آمين يا رب العالمين. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. الفاتحة.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين. الصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين خاتم النبيين بالقاسم محمد وأهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين المعصومين الذين أذهب الله عنهم الرجس وطهرهم تطهيرا. أما بعد، فقد قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وآله وسلم: إن لقتل الحسين حرارة في قلوب المؤمنين لا تبرد أبدا. صدق رسول الله صلى الله عليه وآله. صلوات. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. On this last Tuesday before the beginning of Ayyam Azah, Muharram al-Haram, I thought it would be befitting if we talked about some of the external aspects of Muharram and how we can prepare ourselves better before the Ayyam of Azah of Sayyid al-Shuhada begin. So here, just a quick workshop on Muharram prep. Some of the questions that you should be asking is that why should I come to masjid, or majlis rather? Is mourning important? And how do we involve kids and how do we serve? Now, of course, these aren't all the questions. There are more questions that we will address in 30 minutes that I have in my position until the time of Salatul Maghrib. First is very easy. Why should I attend the majlis? That also entails within it, why do we come to majlis? What is the maqsad? Sometimes the maqsad and the reason behind it is vague and lost. And we get into a lot of the ritualistic aspect of the Ayyam Azah, and we're unable to benefit properly from the essence of it, the philosophy of it, the purpose behind it, the hadaf, the actual maqsad and the reason and objective is sometimes lost. We get so much involved in the process of it that the end product, the end result, that we want to achieve is sometimes either ambiguous or misunderstood or lost. So, you all know the answer to this question. If I was to take questions from the crowd, by the way, I won't take questions from the crowd, but if I was to ask, I'm sure you will all have very valid and good responses as to why should I attend majlis. I'm sure the first answer that comes to all of your minds is because of Imam Hussein, right? What else could be the reason behind me attending a Majlis-e-Aza? Majlis is associated with Imam Hussein. Even if it's a majlis outside of Ayyam-e-Aza, it's Majlis-e-Hussein. So that is the maqsad, that is the reason behind me attending the majlis. But along with this majlis, what else is it that I'm looking for over here? Well, what else am I looking for? I'm looking for something beyond just the physical aspect of getting up from my house. I could have easily laid on my couch, on my bed, and watched it on big screen from the comfort of my house. Because everything is now on YouTube, as this is also going live on YouTube. So I could just, stay home and watch it from the comfort of my house, like I watch everything else. And, I might actually be able to pay more attention from home. I might actually have more focus when I'm listening to the majlis at home. Why? Because there's not really any distraction. When you come here, there'll be hundreds of people and, distractions left and right and whatnot. And sometimes your own kids will be asking you for something and you lose focus and then you go back to, so you're probably, you say, well, I can just do this better at home. But then what you will missing is when you come to the masjid or Imam Barga to attend the majlis, it's not just about, paying tribute to Imam Hussein, but it's being in an environment which is completely holy and keeping you away from that unholy environment, right? I could have watched it from home, but over there are other distractions. While I'm watching, I might pull out my phone and start watching something on my phone, and then I get distracted and I'm no longer into the Majlis Aza. But when you come here, when you're inside a Majlis hall, right here, I would suggest this year, make it a habit. First 10 nights, I'm not even saying for the entire 2.5 months. First 10 nights, 12 nights, which are the most important, which are the ones that even our Aimma-e-Athar used to commemorate, right? When you look at the lives of our 8th Imam, our 6th Imam, and you find the commemoration of Aza, the 10 nights was something which all of the Imams commemorated. The remaining nights, was not really focused on. That was a development later on, that it got extended to the Chihlum of Imam Hussein, then it got extended to the Wafat of Rasulullah, then it got extended to the Shahadat of our 11th Imam, right? Even in some of the Iranian cultures, their majalis and Aza go up till 28th of Safar. After 28th of Safar, Aza is over for them. They go back to marriages and all that stuff. For subcontinent, they sees it goes up to 8th of Rabiul Awwal. They say, let's tack on the Shahadat of our 11th Imam as well. And then we'll go up until then. So different cultures. But what is known fact that our Aimma-e-Athar used to commemorate the first 10 nights. They were definitely commemorating. So I would suggest this, if it's possible for you, when you come in, you minimize all the distractions. One of the biggest distractions in our lives, where's my distraction? Right here, the phone. Leave that in your car. You don't need it. Whoever is contacting you after 9 p.m. knows that you're in Majlis. They shouldn't be calling you. And if they do, as is, normally people, Americans, they don't call after 10 o'clock anyway, 9:30, 10 o'clock anyway. So you don't really need your phone. You can put it away. Leave it in your car when you come in the Majlis hall so that there's no distraction for you. Not even for a second that you need to pull out and see that WhatsApp message or text message or whatever the case may be. I mean, you come here all the time. I can't say this to those who come only in the month of Muharram, those whom we don't see all year long. I can't say this to them, but I'm saying it to you who are regulars here. You and your spouse and your family members who are all here, they know how to go back. They know when the program ends, they're going to go to, for example, the car and meet, and you know where the meeting point is. You don't really need phone to communicate with each other. So therefore, it is easy, it is better that if you leave these distractions away, and then you come into the majlis. So here, why should I attend the majlis? You can close the door if they don't want to come in. Why should I attend the majlis? Number one, to connect spiritually with the mission of Sayyid al-Shuhada. If you answered that, you've answered correctly. I want to connect myself. Every year, tajdeed is needed. every year, you need to revive this relationship. Because over the span of entire year, our connection suffers and it gets weakened. And therefore, one way of doing this is to spiritually connect with the mission of Imam Hussein. Number two, to renew our commitment to the values Imam Hussein stood up for. What is one value that comes to your mind about the struggle of Imam Hussein? Justice, right? Adl, standing up against zulm. That's something which comes to your mind. Do you not see zulm all around you? Do you not see the need of adalat and adl in your life? So you renew your commitment to justice, to truth, and sacrifice, right? All of these are the values that are taught by Imam Hussein, and we remind ourselves of that, especially in the month of Muharram. Number three, to strengthen. This is also one of the benefits of not staying home and watching it from the comfort of your house on YouTube, rather coming here in person. To strengthen community unity through shared remembrance. When you come here collectively, together as family, and then as extended family, here you're showing large numbers. You're showing your strength in numbers that are coming together. Imam Hussein doesn't need it. We've talked about it. The same way your salat doesn't benefit Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala one bit. And in fact, Quran says, if everybody in the world, everybody in the creation was to disobey Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, it doesn't matter to him. It doesn't matter one bit to him. Man fil ard, everyone on this earth became disobedient to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It doesn't matter to him. It matters to those people who disobey him. If you don't come to these majalis, nothing is lessened from Imam Hussein's sacrifice and struggle. Nor that his dhikr will diminish. You think you and I are keeping the dhikr alive? No. It's the contrary. The dhikr is keeping us alive. Imam Khomeini said this, it's Muharram and Safar which has kept Islam alive. If anything has kept Islam alive, it's this Muharram and Safar. What happens in Muharram and Safar? The majalis. This is the opportunity that you get to come collectively and to listen to the Masaib of Sayyid al-Shuhada, and at the same time get an opportunity to reform yourselves in the process. Therefore, get ready to listen to Quran. Get ready to listen to Ahadith. Get ready to correct your aqaid. Get ready to inculcate, induce in yourself the akhlaq of Sayyid al-Shuhada. The lessons that you learned from his sacrifice. Get ready to introduce yourself to all of those things. That should be your objective. Why? In the month of Ramadan, how do we gain the strength to fast? Why can't we fast all year long? Well, exception in this time of the years, fasts are 18 hours long. Fajr is at 3:45 and Maghrib is at 8:52. But winter time, outside of Ramadan, I'm sure many of you fast, but how many of us get to do that? Not many. And we don't have that strength either. Although that it is only 10 hours long, it's not that long anyway, but still we don't get to do that. Why? Because Ramadan gives us that special ability, that strength, that we're able to fast during the month of Ramadan. Guess what? In the month of Muharram, similar energy creeps in. We gain similar energy. We become strengthened. We have this power to mold our hearts to understand, and we're able to then reflect on our individual lives. The sacrifice of Imam Hussein is not telling me to go ahead and get myself killed. The ithar that Imam did, preferring others over himself, is not telling me that I have to go to the battlefield necessarily. But it's telling me that in my personal life, I need to make sacrifices. With my spouse, with my children, I need to show ithar. If I can't do that, then I have not understood the message of Imam Hussein. Yes, Imam's shahadat, you and I will never get to get, maybe some of us might, but majority will not gain shahadat in the typical manner of shahadat, right? We might not get an opportunity to be part of a jihad which is ordered by Imam and Masoom, and we give our lives in that. We might not get an opportunity. But what we can is the shahadat of learning from that shahadat of Imam Hussein, what he stood up for, and how we can implement that into our community, in our families, and so on and so forth. I'll go through this quickly because I don't want to dwell too much into this point. Now, the third point was to strengthen. One of the purposes of going to Majlis is what? To strengthen the community, the unity through this shared remembrance. Reviving the cause of Sayyid al-Shuhada. That's what we find in some ahadith. Sixth Imam said, Tajalasu wa tadhakaru fa inna fi dhalika ahya'an li amrina. Rahimallahu man ahya amrana. Gather together and speak of us, for in it is the revival of our cause. So when we gather, we talk about Imam Hussein, we talk about other Aimma Athar, we talk about the shahadat of Imam Ali, and 7th Imam, and 9th Imam, and 11th Imam, and Imam of our time. We talk about all of these Imams. What are we doing? We are reviving their affairs and their amr. And according to Imam, whoever does that, may Allah have mercy on them. Whoever revives our cause, Allah's mercy will not leave that individual. So then, why do we come? Well, to honor the sacrifice of Imam Hussein. That is the most basic answer. Why do we come to Majlis? To honor the shahadat of Imam Hussein. To reconnect with our faith. A lot of time people, you see, some people only come in Muharram. You don't see them anywhere else, anytime around. Don't mock them. We had this saying in the past years, those people who were seen last year in the month of Muharram, we found them, they're back. Because we didn't see them all year long. No, you don't need to mock them. Maybe their connection with Imam Hussein is stronger than yours. Maybe their relationship with Imam Hussein is spiritually stronger than yours. Me, who is a reciter, zakir of Imam Hussein, may not have a strong faith and connection than the person who only comes for 10 days. Their devotion, I can't challenge that. Maybe they're more devoted than me. Maybe these 10 nights for them, they do their ibadat with such ikhlas and sincerity that I don't do it all year long. Therefore, I shouldn't challenge anyone's devotion. To express our grief for the love of Ahlul Bayt. To be part of the united community, as we mentioned before, because every tear, every moment of remembrance is an act of devotion and resistance against injustice. And then, what should I get from a majlis? This is also a very important question. What do you expect from a majlis? Now, typically, we expect fadail and basail. Fadail of Imam Hussein and Aimma Athar. You can't neglect all the other Imams, because Awwaluna Muhammad, Awsatuna Muhammad, Akhiruna Muhammad, Kulluna Muhammad. When we're doing the dhikr, we do the dhikr of all. They are all the role models. What should I get from this majlis? I should get the dhikr of Sayyid al-Shuhada, his fadail, his acts of courage, historical aspect of Sayyid al-Shuhada, what he did before he entered the battlefield. Karamat, the miracles that are associated with him, all those things. And even the heroics of his battle. These are all fadail of Imam Hussein. That's something which I should get from it. And at the same time, the masaib. This is the basic one. But it's beyond that. We need to use this platform because there are people who come here only for these 10 days. They're expecting their entire deen in these 10 days. So therefore, we need to give them the entire deen in these 10 days. How can I not talk about deen and talk about Imam Hussein? Is it possible? They're not juda. They're not separate from one another. So if you hear the ayat of Quran talking about ahkam shar'i, the salat, if you hear from majlis, the speaker is talking about salat and the obligation of salat and the spirituality of salat and the philosophy of salat, don't start yawning. I know this stuff already. I want to hear about Imam Hussein. Yeah, same Imam Hussein who gave his life for salat. He praised one of his companions on the day of Ashur, that may Allah make you amongst the musalleen. You reminded us of salat. The salat that we are gathered here to commemorate is to give our sacrifices. Otherwise, there's nothing in it. So, spiritual upliftment, sense of nearness to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and His chosen ones. A lesson from Karbala that applies to your personal life. You know, different people going through different struggles. All of you sitting over here, and then of course this number, multiplies in the month of Muharram. You see people coming from everywhere. All those people that are sitting in the crowd. Everyone has some struggles in their life. Someone has struggles financially. Someone is struggling financially. Someone is barely able to make ends meet. Someone has struggles when it comes to marriage. Someone has struggles when it comes to their spouses, when it comes to their parents, when it comes to their siblings, when it comes to their children. Everybody has struggles, real life struggles. We're all going through it. We're stuck somewhere. We're unable to get out of it. Some toxic relationships. Could be anything. Everybody's going through it. We don't know. It's not written on their forehead. This is the platform which is provided to you when you come. Not to forget about your worries. And so, I want to forget about everything when I come to Imam Hussein. No, you want to come here to find a solution to your issues and your problems. That's the universality of the message of Imam Hussein is. That it has solution to every one of their problems. That's what the universality of the Pagham of Karbala has. You look at Karbala itself. You got the black and the white, young and the old, men and the women. You got all sorts of people there. Every walk of life. Those who were previously slaves are no longer slaves. Those who are very old, those who are very young. As young as 6 months old as 90 years old. Muslim ibn Awsaja was very old. He had to tie his eyebrows with a bandana because they were falling over his face. He's very old. John, Ghulam of Abu Dhar, was very old at that time. So here, these people, they teach you courage, they teach you patience, they teach you sacrifice, they teach you truth. You might need truth in your life with your parents. You might need patience in life with your children. You might need courage in your life with your workplace, for example. So you draw that lesson from the lives of these individuals and you implement that. A renewed sense of purpose and moral clarity is needed when you come to this majlis. A deeper connection with Imam Hussein. Not just through mourning, but through action as well. So many riwayat you've heard of shedding one tear. And don't take him for granted. Every tear is guaranteeing forgiveness. So you use and utilize these tears properly. It can be the fact that, I shed tears. I don't know the slang in English. Urdu mein kehte hain magarmach ke aansu. When you cry like that in majlis, and then it doesn't soften your heart. You're still that stern-hearted individual who goes back home and that dictatorial lifestyle that you have. What happened? You were just crying like a baby hearing the Masayib of Imam Hussein. Didn't that mold and soften your heart? How come that sternness is still there when it comes to those who are your subordinate, those who are, under you? So it says, "Ma min rajulin dakarana aw dukirna indahu fakharaja min aynayhi ma'un وَلَوْ مِثْلُ جَنَاحِ الذُّبَابِ إِلَّا غَفَرَ اللَّهُ ذُنُوبَهُم. There is no one who remembers us or is reminded of us, and the tears flow from his eyes, even if it is as little as the wing of a fly, except that Allah will forgive him and his sins. So, these are the majalis, brothers and sisters, which are, if you don't come to the majlis, that's okay. Imam Hussain doesn't need you. We said that before. You know who's present in these majalis? The angels are here. Angels are sitting in the Majlis-e-Azha. They have come to shed the tears for Imam Hussain. It says, إِنَّ الْمَجَالِسَ الَّتِي يُحْيَى فِيهَا أَمْرُنَا تُحَفُّهَا الْمَلَائِكَةِ. The gatherings in which our cause is revived, Majlis-e-Azha, are surrounded by the angels, covered in divine mercy, and filled with the blessings of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Go through it quickly. There are some individual goals of a majlis. You should set those goals this year. You want to make it a different experience this year. You want to come out of that redundancy, the repetitive nature of majlis that we've been going through. You want to make a change this year. It should not be a formality. That ayyam-e-azha come, I'm going to attend the majlis, I'm going to listen, whether I like the dhakir or not, whether I like the dhikr or not, I'm going to sit because this is what my parents have taught me. And there's no reflection. Set some individual goals before you enter upon it. I've already given you one thing. Disconnect yourself. When you come to i'tikaf, you are supposed to disconnect with the world. For the couple of hours that you're here, disconnect yourself with the outside world, so that you're entirely, completely glued to Imam Hussain alayhi salatu wasalam. There are other riwayat in this reference, but I'll move quickly. Is mourning important? What should I accomplish? Forgiveness. And we mentioned the hadith of forgiveness. One shed of tear. Proximity to Allah. You come to the house of Allah. You get closer to Him. Last thing on your mind is haram. Last thing on your mind is sinning. Last thing on your mind is ghibat and slander. And then at the same time, education. These majalis are the best means of educating ourselves and as well as our children. It's also part of our culture and our identity. Then you have community goals of a majlis. What should we do to accomplish? Build the community. This is the best time because everybody is coming together. It doesn't matter they're Indian, Pakistani, East African, they're Irani, they're Afghani, they're Arabs, they're Americans, they're Spanish, whatever background they come from. You know what unites us all? Imam Hussain. That's the common factor right there. All walks of life coming together. Now, from this you understand the impact of Imam's actions. That one man made such an impact on history that people from all walks of life, all over the world, are unison together performing this azah. Connection, silatul rahim. One of the important things in this month of Muharram should be that you're able to revive your relationship with your fellow, family members. Forget about the friends and colleagues. Your family members, they all come to majlis. They're all going to come here. You're going to run into them. This is a time to do Silah Rahim. What is Silah Rahim? You think going up to them and saying Salamun Alaikum. You being that first one to take that step to remove any animosity and breaking the shackles and saying Salamun Alaikum to them. Networking and serve the best ranking people. Why is mourning important and how should we mourn? Well, mourning is important. Azah is a spiritual act of loyalty to Ahlul Bayt. It nurtures the soul's empathy, preserves, our historical truth as well. It keeps the message of Karbala alive across generations. Yes, this mourning, this azah is something which has kept it alive for 14 centuries. That's why we all are on the same page when it comes to our deen, when it comes to our madhab. You look at other madhahib, there are different ways that they pray, there are different ways they do different things. There's difference between one madhab to another madhab. Maliki do things one way, Shafi'i do things another way, Hanafi do things one way. They can. But when it comes to Shia, their prayer, their fast, everything is same. Why? Because we have connected ourselves to imams. And how we have connected ourselves to imams? Through this azan, through these majalis. As I said, even if a person doesn't step into masjid or Imam Barga all year long, when it comes to Muharram, they'll come. I have a story behind it. I'll share it if I have time towards the end. Weeping or causing another to weep, the reward for that. You've heard this hadith many times. Man baka ala al-Husayni aw abka wahidan falahul jannah. Man baka wa abka wa tabaki wajabat lahul jannah. Different riwayat has come. That whoever weeps or causes someone else to weep for Imam Hussain, Jannat is guaranteed for that individual. And then, again, don't take these words for granted. An expression of grief for Ahlul Bayt are recommended. Crying, this other madhab says, don't cry when someone dies. Al-buka'u al-mayyati la yu'adhib the dead ala ahlihi, something of this sort. That if you weep for your mayyat, for your deceased, it will send adhab on to the deceased. That's why you're not allowed to weep. How unnatural is that? It's only a natural thing for me to cry. In fact, crying is recommended to lower the burden, to remove the burden. When a person doesn't cry in front of a calamity, there's something wrong with them. You need psychologists to sit with you and to soften your heart and make you shed few tears. Then you become normal. So this crying has many benefits. And then when you do something collectively, in jama'at, then nurun ala nur. At one point you pray by yourself, and at one point you pray with everyone together. We can all mourn differently, but the goal is same. Just the same way we all do matam differently. Someone might do softly like this. Someone might do hard. Someone might do with two hands. Someone might do with other things that are permissible. It doesn't mean that person who's doing with something else which is permissible is more devoted than me who just does it like this. Or you're not as a good matami as that person is. Where did this come from? How can you even compare such a thing? Our goal is same. Please Allah Almighty and satisfy Sayyid al-Shuhada. He's not looking at how much blood I have shed. He's looking at my inner intentions. Here I'd like to repeat the ayat. When you give sacrifice in Makkah, the ayat of Quran says, لَن يَنَالَ اللَّهَ لُحُومُهَا وَلَا دِمَاؤُهَا وَلَكِنْ يَنَالُهُ التَّقْوَى مِنْكُمْ. When you give sacrifice in Makkah, in Mina, the blood doesn't reach Allah. The flesh doesn't reach Allah. Khulus, taqwa, sincerity reaches Allah. So don't start judging my khulus because I'm doing matam softly. Or because I'm not doing other types of matam, for example. Or that doesn't make you more of a devotee than, for example, me. How do we train the next generation? That is very important. This has to continue. The younger ones need to carry the torch, move forward with it. You say, well, my time is done. I've done what I... No, your time is not done yet. You need to make sure that you train the next. Make sure that they engage. Make sure you give them tasks. Make sure they understand. We need to come out of this selfishness that I need to, and sorry I'm using this word. I've gotten in trouble in using this word before, but I haven't been able to find a better word. I'm not here to enjoy majlis. I'm not here for na'udhu billah, for entertainment. If that's my mindset, if you hear maza nahi aaya, then sorry. You're here for maza? You're here for, satisfaction? Or you're here for azab? I've recited majalis in places where people didn't speak a word of English, especially these elderly women from Iraq. But the moment I started reciting the Masa'ib and I said Imam Hussein, they started weeping and crying so loud that I had never seen anyone cry. They didn't understand what I was saying. They didn't speak a word of English. But the moment they hear Hussein, their tears start. They know the whole story, history. They know what happened. They know that the whole scene is in front of their eyes. So therefore, if you want to connect it to the next generation, you got to come out of the selfishness that I need to first be satisfied before I can pass this down to the generations. Alhamdulillah, communities have made progress in this regard. And they don't just do it in one language, they do it in multi-languages so that our next generation can also understand. Engage them through stories, art, age-appropriate majalis. They may not understand what a speaker, a 60-year-old speaker is speaking in Urdu. They may not understand it. They have a very hard time understanding, staying focused. And these kids sitting over here, they have a hard time focusing what I'm saying in their language, let alone someone who speaks in Urdu or Arabic or Farsi. They won't understand it, especially that, high-class, eloquent, Arabic or Farsi or Urdu. So you want the message to go to them, speak to them. Encourage them to recite, become part of it. Let them memorize some of the poetry, salam, the manqabats, and the rubai. Let them memorize it, and then let them perform. Let them come and read. The moment they are part of it, they'll feel and they'll take ownership of it. Let them witness the love and grief of Imam Hussein. And I'll conclude because I've run out of time. Etiquette of attending majalis. This is very important. Maybe 1 minute. I'll go over my time because it's already time for salat, I think in 1 minute. Purify your intentions. Khulus. Right? Khulus al-niyat. Attend solely for the sake of Allah in order to honor Imam Hussein, not to show off to anyone. You're seeking nearness. When you utter one word in your salat for other than Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, your salat is invalid. When you do the same thing in Majlis Azhar, your Majlis Azhar may not be invalid, but it's not solely for Imam Hussein. Come with physical and spiritual cleanliness. Arrive on time so that those personalities whom we believe are here, they don't come before you, you come before them. We're waiting and majalis are being delayed. Avoid disturbing gatherings by arriving late or leaving early, for example. Stay there quietly, respectfully, and with a heart ready to reflect. Maintain silence and focus. During all, majlis is not just a speech. Majlis starts from Quran. Majlis starts from Soz, Salam, and Marsiya. Majlis is also the Latmiya and the Noha. All these are components of Majlis. Remain throughout all of these. Participate actively. Take part in reciting something. Respect the sacredness. Guide and involve children gently. And serve with sincerity. Of course, all of these required explanation, but inshallah, I'll leave that to your understanding. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that this year, Muharram al-Haram, is different in our lives, reforms us, changes us, makes us a better individual, as there's power in Muharram to do so, and in the dhikr of Sayyid al-Shuhada. Wa akhiru da'wana, alhamdulillah rabbil alameen, Allahumma salli. Time for azan.
إن الله وملائكته يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما توكلت على الحي الذي لا يموت، والحمد لله الذي لم يتخذ صاحبة ولا ولدا، ولم يكن له شريك في الملك، ولم يكن له ولي من الذل، وكبره تكبيرا. سبحان الله والحمد لله ولا إله إلا الله والله أكبر. الله أكبر الله أكبر. الله أكبر الله أكبر. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله. أشهد أن محمدًا رسول الله. أشهد أن محمدًا رسول الله. أشهد أن أمير المؤمنين عليا ولي الله. أشهد أن أمير المؤمنين وأبناءه المعصومين حجج الله. حي على الصلاة، حي على الصلاة، حي على الفلاح، حي على الفلاح، حي على خير العمل، حي على خير العمل. الله أكبر الله أكبر. لا إله إلا الله. لا